Some people have been very busy these past few days. Some people take vacations. Some people take days off. Not so fast here on Sportswire Radio. And we have good reason to be here in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage, the only platform where all music and wrestling matters, because our guest has a lot to say. And he has become a staple on Sportswire Radio of late here the last few weeks, and for good reasons. And he's going to talk about mostly some good reasons, but maybe some not so good reasons for his sake in EPW. Yeah, we'll talk about that. We'll also talk about what about this guy, DTG, being compared to CM Punk? What about a deranged chef? We're going to definitely be talking about him because something tells me he'll be lurking. What about some of your usuals? A lover boy who should have listened to the advice of the Don of Combat? What about an infamous kill shot? What about even a psychotic freak? What about even more TPW stars coming onto Sportswire Radio this coming Friday because we have a major announcement related to TPW? Yeah, we'll be talking about all of that. And it is going to be an infamous, or you might want to say monumental episode here today. No, I'm not giving you any clues, but it is certainly going to be a special one as we induct yet a newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. And what a last few days it has been here on Sportswire Radio. Everybody heard about this guy, Raven, coming on here. Then we had Quick Strike Johnny Velocity. Everybody's talking about what's next for him in the underground. He has a chance to be a triple champion like our man here is on this screen. And we'll be on here later on tonight with Jason Storm, the outlaw who makes his long-awaited return to Sportswire Radio for the first time in nearly 3 months. But it is now time, you might want to say, to start this show off and give a Hall of Fame-like introduction to eventually, later on here tonight, the newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. We do apologize for those technical difficulties early on. Maybe it's those residuals from Raven's episode. But it is now time to continue the Black Friday weekend here on Sportswire Radio, the number one global radio station where all music and wrestling matters. So with that, without further ado, here on the Sports Report, the number one cable sport show. He's a man that's been a podcaster, action star, reigning, defending KCC heavyweight and United States champion, and also the TPW US champion, the former general manager of EPW. His name is simply but soon to be the newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, the Dad of Combat. Ajay, the triple champ is here, and no Utah State Troopers were harmed during this introduction. My friend, how are we doing?
We're doing really good, Tom. Doing good.
You like that 2022 reference there, huh?
I do. It's actually one of my favorite highlights.
Yeah. Well, what if I said that Utah State Trooper was coming on Sportswire? No, just kidding.
No, you know what? I wish he's actually a really good friend of mine, but he's got a busy life, and I got a busy life. Things get in
Yeah.
the way, but I still love the guy, and I hope he's doing well. Actually, reminds me, I should reach out to him sometime this week and check in, see how he's doing.
You know what? Actually, you should. And I know we have a lot to talk about, but there's something on my mind that I have to get off my chest. Not related to you or anybody here, but there was something that struck me about 2 hours or so before we went on the air here, and it really hit me hard. And it's kind of one of the reasons we're a few minutes behind it. And I want to give my thoughts and prayers to the family of one Jared Justice. Jared Justice is actually a guy that is sometimes a presenter on my internet radio station, Sportswire Radio. Jared Justice has been a longtime friend of mine. He has been a friend for over 4 years, and he is somebody that has been a big fan of my introductions. He's talked to me many times about Sports by Radio, because he is sometimes a contributor to a podcast I have played for many years on my radio station, which is now called the Squared Circle Radio Show. It is hosted by Chris Belcher and Andy York. He was previously the Pipe Bomb Wrestling Podcast. And the reason I bring up Jared Justice, because unfortunately, he suddenly passed away. And it's a really devastating thing that has happened to his family, and somebody I've known very well, and young guy in his early 40s, just had a baby, has a beautiful wife, has gotten himself into fantastic shape. And unfortunately, just a few hours ago, I had heard that he had passed away. And like I said, Jared has been a good friend of mine. I've had many conversations with him via Instagram. We obviously He has been a part of my platform for quite a while with my internet radio station, which you can hear down the ticker below via the Listen Live button on sportswireradio.org. And the show that he's a part of, has covered, wrestling, professional wrestling, the WWE for my platform, which is something that has been very important to my success. It's something I provide free of charge to the community. Anybody that has a podcast, they're welcome to put it on to my radio dial, and I do that out of my own pocket. But really, I just hope everybody could join me in giving a moment or two, in a moment of silence, to the family of one Jared Justice, who just suddenly passed away here at the age of 41. And please, if you can, just let's join in for a moment in a silence here. Thank you, and obviously, just really, devastated. I really am, pretty shooken up about it, but that's okay. But nevertheless, the show must go on. To quote a man before Janelle Grant, Vince McMahon would always say, and come hell or high water, they'd have to put me in the box. AJ Harrison before Sportswire Radio goes black. So I'm just going to make sure for you, sir, that we're not going anywhere, because we have a lot to talk about. And I guess I have to talk about. So, last you were here, we were talking about control of EPW and your general managerial position. And unfortunately, you might want to set the tables for us on what happened in EPW when it came to your general manager position.
Well, two things. One, Nathaniel. That's what happened. I've said
Yeah.
on multiple occasions he's a coward. He will not face me. And what does he do? He gets himself in a situation that he cannot get out of. But the caveat is Dario. He hides behind Dario. And I did not eat that pin, by the way.
I know. Well,
So,
Dario's had his own struggles of late. I mean, he's been definitely,
oh yeah.
he's in turmoil.
Well, and that's the thing, when you are doing contracts for these types of matches, and I will be posting a video later on when the card gets announced. Of course, I don't have that control anymore. That goes to Dario
Yes.
temporarily. See, because if you go and you watch similar to what TNA did,
Yes.
their sacrifice, the fine print states that the person who gets pinned loses their sacrifice. So I did not get pinned. So one has to wonder, or one has to ask themselves, is Dario really in control of
Well, that's
EPW?
a point you've made now a couple of different times on Sportswire. You kind of foreshadowed what was going to happen with Dario Divine, the lover boy. I mean, you certainly foreshadowed those things. You talked about an interesting point about losing control, and we know that. I mean, the Enterprise is totally right now not what it was a few weeks ago. I mean, we even know Jerry Main is returning to action for some obvious reasons and such, which you were here Monday for. But I mean, Dario Divine, you kind of called it. I hate to put it that way almost.
It's one of those things that it's a gift and a curse, really, because it's almost when I speak, apparently the universe listens, and I'm spot. I won't say that I'm 100% correct in everything, but I have a very decent track record to be comfortable with the accuracy that I have. When I say something, I'm pretty comfortable with that. And I'm not upset, believe it or not. I'm not upset that I lost the triple threat because I knew that I was not going to eat that pin. The right decision will be made. And for months now, I've talked about the bigger picture.
Right.
And even Comatose himself has, called me delusional. People don't know what I'm
Yeah, he
talking
had a lot to
about.
say about you when he was here before. Obviously, he had went exit stage left for a while. I mean, that was something that was quite the topic here. And famously, as I'm sure you most certainly recall, when Dario was on Sportswire, when he was here, you showed up, but yet
I did.
Comatose didn't. So Dario's certainly gotten it from all ends, and it seems like maybe he's hitting a roadblock. Maybe he's hitting a roadblock as an up and coming talent, somebody that's new to this game, and this is expected. We had on Raven last night. Obviously, everyone's talking about that. If you haven't yet, go out and watch the interview. It's only 20 minutes, but he wrestled some guy named Goldberg, and we know Goldberg had plenty of roadblocks after his streak was finally broke by Kevin Nash. And maybe Dario Divine is going through the same thing. He's going through almost in a way an early sophomore slump. You might want to put it that way.
Well, and the thing about that is he's going up against. I apologize, Tom. You just said
you're the champion. You're a busy man. You have multiple championships there on your shoulders. You're the Don of Combat. You've put down Utah State Troopers. So obviously, understand. You're an action star. You got an IMDb page. I get it. So trust me, we certainly understand.
I will say that he's. I love Dario. He's a great guy.
Yes.
He doesn't. He's a little thick-headed. Hard to get through. But I will say that what he presents on the surface is not what's happening. He's putting on a good front to fool everybody, but the devil is in the details. And if you've listened to what I said, and even Dario referenced it in his own promo, in that triple threat, the devil is in the details, and nobody is paying attention to the details. They look at me as just a desperate guy trying to rip apart the Enterprise. That is most certainly not, by any means, it is not my intentions.
But that's not your fight. That's not your fight. You talked about that here the first time you were formally on Sports. I know you've been here multiple times since, but that was something. Listen, that's nothing to do with you. But what is your thoughts on Jerry Main now coming out? Something else that you did foreshadow. You did eventually say Jerry Main was going to come back, a man that I have met in the flesh and wound, and now, well, he's going to be competing.
I called it. When the announcement was made, I was not surprised. If anything, I was more. It took me aback a little bit that he came back so soon. I knew to come back, it was inevitable. It was just a matter of how soon. If you remember, I had been doing a lot of talking directed towards Jerry. So
You
I
did.
miss.
No, you did. He was a big topic here, no question, when you were here, and even when you came on to confront Dario. I mean, that was a big topic, and you had made a point also related to Dario in the sense that Jerry Main and Comatose were nowhere to be found on that episode. You would think that he would have had the support of his Enterprise brethren. You would have thought that he would have had more support in the TPW locker room, especially the Enterprise, but it was what it was, more or less.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that Jerry comes out of retirement. His first match is a tag team match, and what happened? He lost. And I don't know the specifics. I wasn't there at ringside. I didn't, see or hear who ate the pin on that. But I will say, Dario, he's got an easy match coming up at this main event at Thanksgiving Throwdown against the deranged Elias. Elias himself, and even Dario said it, has lost so much after losing that championship. And to be so selfish when your family is in the hospital, or Big Unk. Anyways, and then you got, who is it?
Well, I'm going to be putting up the link here right now for the Thanksgiving Throwdown because you can catch what you had to say against this guy named DTG, who you compare to CM Punk.
And that's the guy thinks he's CM Punk, and really he's just a Santino Marella wannabe. The guy has, I mean, I have more aura and more talent in my freaking pinky nail than DTG does. Damn it, DTG, change your fucking name. Ain't nobody can understand what your name is. Just change it. Something more English, please.
Well, what's the problem with the DTG? Are you having trouble memorizing it? What is the issue there?
It doesn't make sense. It's not kosher, Tom. I mean, we got somebody who wants to so desperately be United States champion, but yet doesn't want to do American things. Sure, I mean, his last promo, he wished everybody a happy Thanksgiving, but then contradicted himself by saying, well, over here in Europe, we don't celebrate Thanksgiving.
I mean, couldn't you say, but couldn't you make the point that when Dario was here on Sportswire 2 weeks ago, and we know about the whole thing with TPW, he went overseas to fight for TPW, and you can't blame somebody else that's not from this country that has a certain way of doing things. Can't you make that argument?
Well, it's one of those things that it would make more sense if DTG was a champion, not United States champion. Now, maybe his first run, if he would have switched it out and brought in the TPW European Championship or something like that. Unfortunately.
Well, I can ask Rocky that question. Rocky is here Friday night. Do you want me to ask Rocky that question to come up with another championship in TPW? I mean, when Rocky's here, everybody's going to be listening.
Oh, yeah. It's one of those things. I mean, at this point, by doing that, you're taking pity upon DTG. Do I think that he deserves the pity? No, he deserves everything that he's got coming to him at this pay-per-view.
And you're going to give him a beatdown. You are emphatic about that. You were emphatic. Oh, yeah. And you also talked about being a month in now as the United States champion. That's a championship that you plan not to relinquish.
Tom, TPW has hit its highest number ever since its entire existence.
Right.
35.9 thousand. Last I checked. 35. Listen to that number. 35.9 thousand eyes on that product in the last 30 days. About the same amount of time when I became the U.S. champion.
Oh, wait a minute. I know we're going to be celebrating you in a little while, but I'm confused. Now, we love the fact that TPW has that many engagements. We here on Sportswire have had a great relationship with Rocky and TPW for over a year. We love having the TPW locker room here. I see people in the chat that are certainly going to have opinions on that, but Doesn't the buck stop though with the guy on top? I mean, Dario was the one on top during that 30-day period for the most part. Shouldn't you say usually how it goes in wrestling is it's the one that's on top where everyone goes, the buck stops there. But you're saying yet that you're the one that's responsible for the record engagements in TPW. I thought it'd be the champion. I'm confused.
All right. So I see what you're doing here, Tom. I'll do two things. One, Dario has been champion, if I remember correctly, about 12 weeks now.
Yeah, we're looking at 3+ months, about 3+ months.
And again, the numbers started to climb. But I would like to think that him and I both, being in our respective positions, is what brought TPW where it's at. It's not the tag team. It's not the the Change of Fortune Championship,
which Comatose had. Yeah.
Yep. Right now, the two main championships that have eyes on them: the TPW Championship, which is currently held by Dario, and the United States Championship, held by me.
I understand that, and believe me, we love all the champions and all the talents in TPW. I want to make that clear before I go into my point. But again, I've been doing this a long time when it comes to wrestling coverage. And from my understanding, it's usually the person on top that everybody points to and says, well, that's when either business is up or business goes down. And if business goes up, doesn't Dario get that credit? You're saying you get the credit also, but usually it's the champion. I mean, people, whether it was in the Ruthless Aggression era, people looked at John Cena, the Attitude Era, certainly Stone Cold Steve Austin. You can put The Rock there as well into that. When we think about the 80s, obviously Hulk Hogan, God rest his soul. In the 70s, we look at Bruno Sammartino, then later on to Bob Backlund. I mean, so in a way, it's Dario Divine. That's the one that people would point to for TPW's rapid record growth right now. Ajay Harrison, yes, you're a huge part of that, but people are going to give credit to Dario.
Oh, and I don't take any credit away from what Dario has done.
Yes.
It's one of those things that, I mean, again, when you look at the numbers and you even go look at the individual numbers,
right?
And you look at the views on things.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, again, if you're not talking Enterprise and you're not mentioning Ajay Harrison, it's irrelevant.
Well, I would say, I mean, there are people in TPW that people talk about. There's this psychotic freak who has been a staple on this platform and has been a big topic.
Kudos,
I mean, you've got Killshot, by the way. I mean, you've got Killshot, Mr. Bang Bang has always been a topic here on this platform. So I think there are many guys and gals in TPW. There's Dante Okara, who's returned to TPW. I know, speaking of Europe, I remember him when he was an independent UK wrestling champion. He's now back in TPW. There's a lot of people in TPW that are going to certainly want to lay claim to TPW's, rapid growth and record growth. I mean, certainly we know that TPW is the mothership of the promo wrestling world. And I guess, Mr. Harrison, you're almost forcing me to ask Rocky this question on Friday. Are you maybe forcing me to force his hand and say, who is responsible for TPW's record growth? Do you want that?
You know what, Tom? Let's do it, because you stated at the beginning of the show that when I speak, I don't lie.
That I'm agreeing with.
Right.
Listen, there's no question. You have foreshadowed what's happened in the Enterprise.
I will foreshadow the same thing. Rocky will say, and Rocky will tell you on this platform when he's on here, that the Enterprise and Ajay Harrison is what's best for business, and it's what skyrocketed TPW to where it's at.
I think, yes, I would partially agree with that, but I think there are other talents that are going to feel that they've been a part of that. I mean, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's because they have ties in losing to us. I mean, come on, Tom. Yeah, they got their spotlight. I mean, 15.
There's that flower pot guy. I mean, he's going to certainly,
And then of course there was Gerber. I mean, there's quite a few, but tomato.
Listen, I think that there are a lot of great talent in TPW, and I think that obviously I'm going to ask Rocky this question, but I mean, you still have a big match coming up here, but you're not concerned at all about this DTG.
Nah.
No, not concerned. No,
You
not
know,
concerned.
I would have been. I went and I watched his first promo, and I'm like, all right, you gave me a little bit to work with. Now allow me to just tear you apart. And I did that in the first hype. Now, you know, whether or not he's going to show up for the match, that's on him. You know,
No,
I
I think he should. Why do you think he wouldn't show up? I think he'll show up.
well, I mean, didn't he just get out of his suspension for not showing up? I mean,
Well, I mean, now he's gonna certainly hear this, and he's gonna definitely want to show up.
well, we'll see, Tom. We'll see. And even if he does show up, I got it. I'm not too worried about it.
Now, what about something else out there? Obviously, you talked about that with Thanksgiving Throwdown, but there's this chef you have also a battle with.
Yeah. So, chef, you know, Elias decided to come into EPW.
Yes,
And
I know Elias. I know Elias
yep,
very well.
and he started running his mouth just a little bit, just a wee bit, Tom. And he got himself into some trouble. He lost his first match against me. And instead of just walking away and going back to TPW with his head in shame, he wanted to face me again. So, and actually that second match was supposed to be a death match that unfortunately, I ended up winning, but you know, it was unfortunate because Elias didn't make it. And what everybody sees here is I had to pay a visit to poor Big Unk. He's unable to talk, and I will say, you know, he'd been doing a lot of blinking, you know, and just answering questions. Elias has been asking questions to Big Unk, and the way Big Unk is able to communicate is through blinking. And so Elias comes to TPW locker room and starts throwing shade my way, like accusing me of something. Elias, you know, you and I, yeah, we had a match that you were supposed to show up for. I have a solid alibi. Go ask the Enterprise, go ask anybody, and they will tell you that I was getting ready for our match. And I was already out there. I had nothing to do with what happened to your family. But if you keep pushing these accusations, I mean, well, we'll just keep it like that. He's digging himself into a hole that eventually Elias won't be able to get himself out of. You know, it's
so you say that basically.
what I'm
I'm
saying,
listening.
Tom.
Go ahead. You're saying that Elias is basically digging his own grave.
Well, yeah, and he's again, you know, there is no evidence. There's no evidence, no nothing that ties me to what happened there. And to have the accusations thrown my way just because what, you know, some deranged chef lost, you know, 2 matches, you know, to me, it sounds like an old bitter man who is very salty that he lost. And instead of taking his loss like a man, he has to throw these accusations my way and smear my good name. It's unfortunate.
Yeah. I understand. You know, obviously, I hope for the best. I hope it obviously works out. And certainly, I've seen Elias on this platform. In fact, the time that I had seen Elias here on Sportswire, speaking of old men, and I know people in the chat want to talk to you, and we'll obviously then after that, well, do why we're here. But when it comes to old men and the time that Elias was here, he had famously had a battle with a fellow named James Taylor, who you had obviously had some words for here on Thursday. And James Taylor is a certainly very, very interesting character who's had a very, very long career in the wrestling world. And much of that also is from the promo wrestling world. And he was in TPW once upon a time. And you seem to have had some words for this fellow, James Taylor, the Tyrant King, who makes his return to the wrestling ring next Saturday. And I was curious about why you were going back and forth with the Tyrant King James Taylor, and maybe because there can't be no other way, what would you like to say to him?
You know, I came on, what was it, a few days ago?
Thursday, Thanksgiving, on Thanksgiving.
Thursday, Thanksgiving. All right. And, you know, it's one of those things. I'm always looking to help some of these older talent.
He's an older fellow. He's definitely a very, very, very much in that lane.
It's the new generation now. And, you know, he's had a great career.
Yes.
And if I can add that highlight onto my accolades, I'm all for it. So I came on, I took my shot, and just like Nathaniel, except Nathaniel had the courage to at least jump into a triple threat. But where's Nathaniel now? We haven't heard a word from him.
I haven't heard a word from Nathaniel on Sportswire for a very, very long time. Yeah, I understand.
It's unfortunate because I expected more from James Taylor. The things that I have heard about him,
yes.
You know, always willing.
He has been a founding father of my platform. I've had a front row seat to him on Sportswire for about 3 years almost. I've seen him certainly in many, many different facets of his career, but right now he's focused on his return to the wrestling ring, and maybe that's what his focus is, and that maybe if that time comes one more time for a promo battle, and maybe that's where you'll have the opportunity. I don't know. I mean, that's a great question. I mean, certainly James is understandably focused on getting that Omega Championship Wrestling Delta title shot that he once had and now doesn't. And I mean, you know, I don't know.
Well, you know, and I could have been all right that he didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
Except he wanted to go on and say that if I, and this is, you know,
yes, sir, yes, I know you. I mean, you saying it. I remember it. I was here.
If I got into a promo battle with you, I would eat you alive. I don't even know who you are, but if we got on the mic, I would just destroy you. And it's like, you know, you're talking an awful lot of shit, but I don't hear dates being talked about. Look, the calendar's open. We can.
I agree. I'm with you. I want to see everybody go out there and compete, but I guess the thing is, right now, his focus is his wrestling situation, where he returns to Omega Championship Wrestling, where he had this title shot, this match against the Big Boss TIP that has now been taken from him by a primetime Twan Tolliver, and that's maybe why he's not quite yet focusing on what you said to him. I guess. I mean, he will be back on after his situation gets settled next Saturday. I don't know exactly the date. We're looking at very shortly after that, but I mean, I'm sure that could be a topic once again.
You know, I might, Tom. I might just have to clear my schedule that day, and who knows? You know, it's like I said on Thanksgiving Day when I was in here. I said it in the chat, and I'll say it out loud. You know, you can compare yourself to a king all you want, but what is a king to a don?
You know, you have said that multiple times here on Sportswire. I totally get that, and that's a great question. He may be a nemesis, he may be a tyrant king, he may be a legend, but I guess remains to be seen what his future would be when it comes to promo wrestling. It's obviously very, very clouded. We know his story in the backyard in the underground wrestling circuit that he has put to bed, but he didn't say anything about promo wrestling. So I give you that. He did not say, he said backyard and underground wrestling he's done with. He's focused on his 1-year deal in OCW. That has nothing to do with maybe a one-on-one battle with you. Maybe if James Taylor would have a farewell promo opponent, maybe you could be that guy. Obviously, Nathaniel Rage, he has battled. Comatose, he has battled. So you and him do have some things in common. Elias, the deranged chef. I mean, that chef you certainly know, and he's battled him too on this platform and in TPW. So,
I wish James Taylor the best. I hope he gets everything that he's looking for. You know, the championship match. I hope he gets it all. But I will still. It's still fresh in my mind. It's not going to go anywhere. I'm not a patient guy usually, but when I want to be, I can be patient, you know, so I will give James Taylor that respect. I just hope that he gives me the respect and not making me wait too long.
No, I listen. James Taylor's a guy though that does things with. Listen, he
Mhm.
is definitely a guy that some of this I'm sure he's gonna have his feelings on, and the rest of it I
Mhm.
have no idea. But I'm sure he'll have something to say about this. But let's get to the chat because I want to
Absolutely.
hear what they have to say, and then I want to obviously get to the ceremony because that's what we're here for. But
Mhm.
let's do that now. First, starting with Zilla. Zilla is here leading off. Thank you, Zilla, for being here once again. Hashtag all wrestling matters. Thank you, Zilla, for that. And the man that was here last night, right after that guy named Raven, that is Johnny Velocity. Quick strike, Johnny Velocity. Let's keep this great weekend going. Yes, thank you, Johnny. Yes, we're very happy to have
How
Johnny
you
a
doing,
part of it.
Johnny?
Johnny was a great guest as always. He's a founding father of the platform and wanted to say hello. And he'll, I'm sure, be here later on when Jason Storm comes on here. Thank you. And hello, well, triple champion, but in KCC, you do have 2 championships now in KCC.
Absolutely. You know, it's so this one was just one, and I have to go back and look at the dates because it's hard to keep track anymore now.
Yeah,
This
you're a
one,
busy guy. Obviously, family life, championship life. I mean, you do it all. Movie life. I mean, you've got it all going on.
sometimes it just gets a little too heavy. This one,
Ah,
March, the first weekend of March, I took this one, so it's pretty lengthy reign, and it's going to stay that way.
I'm certainly not getting in the way of that. And if you do want to give AJ a sub on his YouTube channel, I would certainly recommend that you do that. So give him a sub, and we'll keep the sub train going because everybody likes those subs. And yes, thoughts and prayers. Yeah, Jared Justice. I mean, I'm just absolutely, devastated about him. I mean, I don't even want to say it on the air. I'm sworn not to by the family, and just horrible. I mean, this is a guy. I just wished him happy birthday. I literally just wished him happy birthday, and he just had a baby. I mean, he's got a beautiful. I mean, his wife's gorgeous. I mean, great guy. He lost a lot of weight. Big wrestling fan. Always gave me encouraging words. Always when I had Rhino on here was just he was blown away. Savio Vega, just a guy that for 4 years he's been a part of my platform with the Internet Radio, with the Squared Circled radio show, and then before that, the Pipe Bomb Wrestling podcast. My thoughts and prayers go out to Chris Belcher and Andy York and Billy Belcher, Chris's father, because Chris and Jared are practically like brothers, and yeah, just a horrible thing. Yes, hello to Johnny. Thank you, Johnny. And it is, and I don't even want to say. I don't even want to say it. I'm not going to say it on the air. I was promised, and I won't do it. But yes, thoughts and prayers to his family and friends. And speaking of people, by the way, I have to say this guy. Now I know you are too busy to certainly help him along the way as a protege, but he don't need the help right now. And that is the Psychotic Freak, and he's been impressive. I mean, he's going toe to toe with Kill Shot, and another guy he's in action with. This guy who I've known quite a bit, Be Smooth. And what is your thoughts on the Psychotic Freak now that he's now made his way into TPW? And I got to tell you, he's here to stay.
Yeah, I had my my reservations about him. I didn't know if he was going to be able to make it, but I tell you, he won his debut, and
He Kill Shot, nevertheless. Mr. Bang Bang. Kill Shot, who comes on here on Sportswire like it's nothing. He beat him, and his promos were good.
Yeah.
They were creative. They were out of the box. I mean, he was like straight up, and now he's doing it again. I mean, I don't know if he's in the Institute this time for his promo against Be Smooth, but I mean, it was another fire promo.
Yeah, no, and it's one of those things, like I said, he impressed me. Depending on who you're going up against, it's always going to be tough, and especially if you haven't done that before. Nervous,
Yeah,
like
I mean, he's another guy made the transition from wrestling to promo wrestling, and it's something he hadn't done before. And I mean, this guy, I tell you what, and you know what? I know your situation with James Taylor, but something tells me, I mean, Comatose is in the reverse situation with the Psychotic Freak, because we know Comatose's story. But I tell you what, the Psychotic Freak, if that happens one day in 2026, whether it's a promo ring or a wrestling ring, I tell you what, Comatose is going to have his hands full. It's going to have his work cut out for him, because the Psychotic Freak is showing that freak math, he don't necessarily even need to win these matches. And he's going to certainly be motivated. He's primed and poised. And I know this man, another man that I know, a man that has been on my platform for years. I've seen what this man has done. I've seen him break into people's homes and steal championship belts live on this platform. I have seen him. The doctors told him that he couldn't wrestle in a match, still go out there. I've seen him from a psychiatric institute. I've seen him from the hospital. I mean, this guy lives in an abandoned hospital. He's been arrested here on this platform. And this guy, I tell you what, he is a major player.
Yeah, it's I'm happy for him. He's come to me with advice or for advice a few different times. I've been able to answer his questions, help him out when I can. But there's some things that I just, unfortunately, I can't answer.
He's making me look good because he's a Hall of Famer for my platform. So he's making me look good that he's doing what he's doing. So he may have gone up against Mr. Bang Bang, but I'll tell you what, the Psychotic Freak, he don't always need that freak math. And he's going to do what he's done, what I've seen him do, which led him to multiple championships in the backyard wrestling circuit. So I am very, very excited to see him in TPW. I love seeing guys from my platform that make that transition into places like TPW. Comatose is another one, right? The Psychotic Freak, Dante Okara, who's back. Another guy that I know from years ago. I love when I see those people that were here on Sportswire that were, I don't want to say they were homegrown stars, but they were stars that they got that ability to be in prime time on the brightest lights and then come over into the mothership figuratively and literally in TPW. Think about Sportswire and TPW. We're the mothership, some would say. I love seeing guys like that go and cross over, like again, Comatose, like the Psychotic Freak.
Yeah, and TPW is the equivalent of WWE when it comes to the promo world. So I mean,
and I've had the WWE on my platform, so there you go.
And it was one of the main reasons that EPW got its start, and I mentioned that I believe here before.
Yes, you did.
It's one of those things. So to have those two major things, I've always been very grateful and thankful for my opportunities, and it's one of those things that TPW, much like Sportswire Radio, it's not going anywhere. Instagram as a whole would have to shut down completely. Even then, Tom, I think Rocky would find a way.
No, I'll tell you what, Rocky is a good man, and Rocky, what he's doing also training in the wrestling world, Rocky is doing a lot of great things. This is a man that sleeps very little. So please, everybody, go give a big shout out to Rocky. And I can't wait to see Rocky here Friday night. He's also going to announce who's the next inductee into the TPW Hall of Fame. I'm sure we'll be honoring TPW. And if you want to check out our interview with that guy you see on the screen, Raven, I would highly recommend you do that. And we'll get to some more comments. Mr. Harrison obviously got a phone call relating to the situation in EPW, so we'll let him go and deal with that business call because obviously he's a busy man with an IMDb account. Also, his stuff. We'll read off some comments. Obviously, we wonder if it's Nathaniel Rage on the phone, but in the meantime, we'll get to some more comments. And yes, we are doing well. Thank you, Zilla. Hello to the Dawn of Combat, AJ Harrison. Also, if you're here, hit the sub button for AJ Harrison on YouTube. Definitely hit that sub button for me. Also hit the sub button for us if you haven't yet. And speaking of people that have some things to say, there he is, Dario Divine, the man himself, multiple champion. Would like to say the fine print question marks. Listen, you want to talk? Let's talk. Well, you stay tuned. That could certainly be coming up very, very soon here tonight. Sit down, lover boy. The champ is speaking. The Psychotic Freak has certainly made it known that he has respect for the Dawn of Combat, AJ Harrison. You know Mr. Freak's feelings with Comatose, that he does not have much love for Comatose. And the mid-card champ is speaking. That kind of does go back onto my point about the situation there with who is responsible for what TPW has done it in the record growth. It's usually the world champion that gets that credit, but I'll leave that at that because we let everybody in TPW the mid card question. LOL. What is the mid card? Yeah, that's a great point. What is a great point there because we know that everybody's on top of the card here on Sportswire. The U.S. title question mark. Yes. Well, yes. We are live with TPW. thank you, Rocky, for giving us some certainly, hopefully, common sense when it comes to this debate, because we certainly want to move away from it. Hit the sub button for AJ Harrison on YouTube. And thank you, Rocky, for clarifying the way you and I feel, which is the same. Everyone that's a part of the TPW roster is responsible for the record growth. No one has done it alone. Yes, there is no iron team. A rising tide will always lift all boats. Everybody's together here in TPW. That's why we love TPW here on Sportswire Radio. And I want to give a big shout out to TPW. And that answers my question and your question. Listen, everybody in TPW that's responsible, the Dawn of Combat, AJ Harrison of TPW's Record Growth. And let's support TPW on Instagram. You are in that Thanksgiving throwdown. Comatose, obviously, we know his story, but a lot of great stuff there. The Slayer King, Jaheel Thunderbolt, you know him well. Tommy J, and Yonder Demon.
Great talent there.
You made up
Tommy J.
What's that?
I said Tommy J. I caught his promo, and I will say he's impressed me a little bit. So
yeah, he's another up and comer. I tell you, I love seeing up and comers, and there's the guy that you made a flower pot, and there he is. Obviously, he's certainly going back about it. And there is my man, the Psychotic Freak against Be Smooth, who's been here a few times, but I don't know, man. The Psychotic Freak right now is he's showing that freak math is not needed. He's a real contender. He's a Reaper. He's bringing that North Dakota Reapers mentality to TPW. And those guys are all some of the most fearsome stars in the backyard wrestling circuit that I've seen over the past several years. And he's bringing that there. And Dante O'Cara, another guy that I remember him when he was a champion in the independent UK wrestling scene. He's back in TPW. And I spoke to Dante not too long ago. I love seeing that. Yeah, we got Mikey and Killshot. Killshot's always around, Mr. Bang Bang himself. And AJ Storm. Oh, AJ Storm, one of the very best in the promo wrestling world. AJ Storm, he's for real. He's definitely for real. And you see some of the names. Draquan, I know Draquan. Elliot Creed. That's another. The Intercontinental titles on the line. And DTG, there you are. AJ Harrison. There's that promo poster. And Maxwell Mangio, another guy that's certainly who knows, may one day make his way to Sportswire before 2025 is out. So a lot of stuff there. There it is. Dario Divine, Elias, the deranged chef, and boo, James Taylor knows about that. Let's get to some more coverage here, more comments, and then get to obviously inducting you in the Hall of Fame. I know people want to watch Survivor Series. Also here, the Lover Boy, Dario Divine. Why did you think that the Dawn of Combat and the real TPW U.S. champion AJ Harrison is a mid-card? That's a fair question. And he would say the title is a mid-card title. I know nothing about cards. I know he has surpassed it talent-wise. AJ is just holding down that position to defend the country he loves for a great company that is TPW. Okay.
Thank you. See, somebody who gets it and understands it. I could have went to Rocky. See, because people who have been keeping an eye on the product, this is my second run in TPW.
Yes.
I had my first run, and then I left due to some incidents. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah, let's do that at this point. We just had Raven on Sportswire, and I have another big name tomorrow night coming on. So let's certainly leave out the drama.
Yeah, no. So, but because of those incidents, it helped me to go. And of course, with EPW, I got better. And I mean, again, you turn a bad situation into a great situation.
Yes.
And so when I came back to TPW, I went to Rocky, and it was because of one certain TPW main eventer, a champion no less, that got me. Why don't you talk to Rocky? It's like, all right. So I went to Rocky and I talked to him. I did not ask to come back. I did not beg to come back. I just simply stated there's somebody on your roster, a main eventer, who wanted me to come and sit and talk to you. And this main eventer says that he would love to see me back in TPW because he believes that's where I belong. Rocky immediately, I think I didn't even have a chance to finish that sentence, and he said, I would love to have you back. And I said, well, if I come back, though, I said, I only got one request. I said, I want a shot at the United States title. I said, it doesn't make sense. We have a champion that is not from the U.S. as the U.S. champion. And he's like, you know what? I can't give you a direct title match. He says, but to get you back, I'll put you in there and let's see what you can do. And I took the ball, I ran with it, and I still have that ball on my back.
And that's what you got to do. Anytime somebody gives you an opportunity, you got to run with it, man. That's what you got to do. You got to definitely do that. And yes, Zilla understands. And she's also going to say that she respects the Dawn of Combat, the real double champion, AJ Harrison, and the Psychotic Freak. Speaking of people that will be in action the last time in 2025 in a little while, that is Comatose, who did want to come in and at least say congratulations. Very nice of Comatose. We hope Comatose is doing well, and Comatose will be in action twice. First today, then tomorrow. He'll be wrestling BES for the television championship, then for his BYW Interpromotional Championship tomorrow against Steven Storm. And Comatose wanted to come in here. Thank you, Comatose, for that. Hope you're doing well.
Very much means a lot that
yes.
he took the time to come in.
Very nice of Comatose. We love Comatose on Sportzwire. We want to thank Comatose. Love Comatose. So breaking the fourth wall. Comatose is a good man. His mom has always supported the shows. She's always come in the streams, and Comatose has always been here for a lot of talents, except for Dario's show. No, we love Comatose, and we certainly hope to see him back here next year.
Comatose is never going to live that down, ever.
Well, I'm sure Comatose right now has other things on his plate, but yeah, he's going to hear about that, I'm sure. Yes, please follow the Psychotic Freak on Instagram, and the Psychotic Freak has the potential to be one of the next rising stars of TV. I agree. Listen, I like what he's done so far. He's here to stay. He's here to stay, and the Psychotic Freak will get his 5 seconds of fame one day. But I tell you what, Killshot found out, and I think B Smooth's about to find out that Psychotic Freak is not. He's not a one-hit wonder. He's not a flash in the pan. I've seen what he's done in the backyard circuit. The guy was a part of.
Go ahead. I'll let you finish. But
no. Go ahead. You got it.
I will say, and this isn't directed to the Psychotic Freak personally.
Right.
We have had a swarm of new talent join TPW, and you made a statement earlier about these new talents have certainly have a claim of saying that that's the reason the numbers are where they are.
Right.
And I'm going to try to be as modest and as respectful when I say this as I can be. 1 week on the roster, you got to prove yourself a little more than just one match. There are some great talent, and they have that flash of potential, but you got to bring more than just one match,
Yeah. I get that. No, that's like anything else. Listen, it's music. You got to go out there, and people want to see more than one album. They want to see more than one song. I understand that.
Yeah.
But I think that the Psychotic Freak will definitely, I have no doubt, prove that he's here to stay. And there's the eyeballs, and then you can watch the interview with Raven on my YouTube channel. I would recommend you check it out. And there is no I in team, but there is a me in it. Technically,
that's true. Yes, yeah, he's right there. Wow, Rocky, I guess he just took your philosophy and buried it, didn't he? There.
Well, but technically, it doesn't spell me though. Doesn't spell me. Doesn't spell me.
Tom, what are we gonna do with you, Tom?
Well, I'll tell you what we're gonna do. We're gonna get to some more comments. That pay-per-view took me a while to make. Lots of editing went into that. Hopefully, a lot of turkey cooking, right? There is a reason Loverboy is front and center. There he is. Speaking of people, who knows? Maybe they'll find their way into TPW. Torrance Banks wanted to stop by. Maybe he'll find another wrestler. Certainly knows Killshot very well. Knows some other promo greats like Devin Adams.
Tom, you muted yourself, or you cut out there a little bit. We can't hear you. We lost you.
Now, can you hear me now?
Yep, there we go.
So my point was that Torrance Banks, a man that knows the likes of Killshot very well, and promo great and Devin Adams, maybe one day he'll make his way into TPW. And he was a pro back in the day. I mean, Rocky's here in the chat. I can certainly set that up. And another man on the roster, another man that has certainly proven himself. And and the possibilities could be endless. I mean, maybe you and Torrance Banks one day, maybe Dario Devine and Torrance Banks one day. Who knows? Killshot and Torrance Banks could be in a tag team. Who knows? There's a lot of possibilities and similarity.
Easy there, Tom. Easy, easy. You're a little excited and throwing out like just.
Well, look, I mean, you know what? It's there for itself. And you know
I
what? I'm
mean,
gonna certainly. I'm in the promoting business. We gotta promote.
yeah.
You gotta promote. You gotta
And you
promote.
know what, Tom? Speaking of
And
promoting,
EPW could be an EPW.
maybe and I will say, Tom, that speaking of promoting, this coming week, yeah, or next week is Cyber Week for TPW. So
Yes.
we don't know what kind of surprises we're gonna get. What matches
Rocky's gonna talk about that. I'm glad you say that because Rocky will talk about that Friday night. He will talk about that. We'll obviously unveil the next inductee into the TPW Hall of Fame, and I'm certainly excited to see all that. And yeah, we would love to. I'll connect. There you go. I will connect Rocky to Torrance when we're off the. I'll set that up on Facebook, and I agree. A bunch of new people have joined TPW, and it's amazing to see. And TPW has gotten a lot easier for Rocky. I'm glad to hear that. And Rocky's doing great things. And if you like to follow TPW, I can actually take care of that right now for Torrance Banks. He said he had Instagram, and I have Instagram here right now up for the TPW Instagram page, and we can set that up for you right now. And all you have to do is connect here right now to Instagram, Texas_promo_wrestling, and you can connect. And anybody can connect with TPW, and that's Rocky's page. And I would love to see Torrance Banks and TPW together. As a matter of fact, I'll even make like easier. I'll put Torrance Banks' Instagram page up. If you like to go follow Torrance Banks on Instagram and get in touch with him, and you can do that there as well. So you get two for the price of one, and we'll give connecting each other a way to go. It's the holiday spirit. We're in that mood. It's Cyber Monday is coming up. Black Friday deals are still out there. So that's Torrance's page. You want to connect with him, you can do that, and maybe we'll see him in TPW very soon. All right. I've talked a lot, but I think now it's time for me to share my screen and unveil what you have been waiting for a week now. And I want to do that. And I want to obviously give you the opportunity to say a few words before we close the show. And especially now for those that are listening and watching here in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage, the platform that TPW most certainly helped build, Sportzwire Radio, to get us to that guy named Raven and amongst many other legends. Congratulations. You are the newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you. It's one of those things, and I've said it on multiple occasions. I did my research. We've had our discussions, and this is one of those times where curiosity, it got the best of me, and it actually worked out. I went and I did my research, did my all that good stuff, my history, and every time I would dig more into Sportswire Radio, I started to realize just how big it really was. And I'm like, oh. So every time I would, discover new things about Sportswire Radio, it would just kind of hit me even more. It's like, and yet I'm being inducted into the Hall of Fame. It's something that means a lot. You put a lot of hard work into it. And I want to say, thank God it's not, and this is by no means me trying to completely trash WWE's Hall of Fame. I'm going to try not to, but this is something that I'm very thankful and grateful to be a part of, because you go and I'm sure, I don't want to assume, I'm sure you take your time and you put well-deserving people into
I mean, I think that the Hall of Fame as a whole, I mean, there's a couple of mulligans out there, but I mean, by and large, I would say, the overwhelming majority of the roster, I think, is very, very deserving. And we do have, I would point out Raven, Savio Vega, Pitbull, Gary Wolf. I would also point out Mark Farner. I would point out, Phil Lewis and, Doug Pinnick of King's X and the band. And there's a lot of famous people. We have a guy that played in the NCAA Final Four here in New York in the Hall of Fame. So we have, a lot of people, and obviously a lot of wrestlers in our backyard, underground and promo wrestling circuit. A part of it. TPW is in the Hall of Fame as well. So,
I can't express my gratitude enough, Tom. I could understand if say we'd known each other, years and years, a long time, but for you to do the research, take the time, and really get to just talk to me, it really does mean a lot.
We love having
so
you
thank
in. There's a lot, Torrance. Thank you, Torrance, for the kind words. And
Yes, thank you, Torrance. Yes.
And Rocky, we've had a great relationship with Rocky, and I feel Rocky's pain in a lot of ways sometimes, because you try to keep everybody happy, and we've had a great relationship with TPW, and we've always had TPW talent on here, and as I stated, Dante Okara. I think about Comatose, the psychotic kill shot, now that he's going into the wrestling world. So there's always a lot of crossovers. Devin Adams, obviously in the past, I mentioned James Taylor, Anthony Steele, certainly, and, AJ Storm's been here. There's a lot of great people from TPW, the past and present, that have been here. Obviously Dario, certainly I mentioned Elias of the Range Chef. I mean, Be Smooth, I, had mentioned a few times during the telecast. There's a lot of great people. Nathaniel Rage, even though I know you mentioned him, but a lot of people in promo wrestling have been here, and that's a part because of TPW. Darius has been here. I want to give Darius a shout out. I mean, there's a lot of great people from TPW and Nelson, and we love having people like yourself on here. And you definitely are worthy and deserving of being in the Hall of Fame from your background, obviously acting, podcasting, martial arts, certainly the promo wrestling world. So you're definitely deserving. Anybody you want to thank? Anybody you want to maybe shout out?
Yeah, actually, it's two very specific people. Actually, I'm sorry, three. Dario and Comatose and you. And absolutely for
you don't have to thank me. You want to thank the other two. I mean, I realize I know you're thanking me because I put you in the Hall of Fame, and my vote's the deciding vote. Well, it's the only vote. But I get that.
So going outside of yourself, then,
yeah,
Rocky, because he has TPW. I stumbled on TPW by an accident, and always a great guy.
Mm-hmm.
Comatose and Dario, and there's a time to be in character and a time not to be. This is one of those times I don't want to be. Those two gentlemen really helped me to improve my character, to help build me to get onto this platform and to where I'm at. During my first run, if because I was supposed to face Comatose twice in my first run. I don't think there would be this if it wasn't for that first run. I think that I needed to leave to have that EPW experience, and because of all those, those three gentlemen have put in so much time and effort, and to deal with me alone is like a full-time job. And obviously, the big guy upstairs, got to give him his flowers, because none of this exists without him. And I am forever grateful. I am forever thankful and humbled with all of my experiences, good, bad, whatever it is. They're lessons, they are blessings, and we learn from them, and we take what we can from them, and we apply it into the future. So
that's it, man. All you can do is, the past is the past. You just got to move forward, and I think that you definitely have done that, and I mean, I think that, listen, you're matured, and and sometimes you need those things. Listen, I think if you look at the platform here, I think there's certainly been a maturity and a growth, and I think that you have been certainly very deserving to be in the Hall of Fame. I think that you are very big in admitting some of your things that you've went through, and I think, listen, you know what, the best is yet to come, and yes, and we were very happy to have TPW as the first company, because there's other great companies out there, but having TPW, I think, really, and it was a great time to have TPW come on Sportswire last, because at the time it was very important, I think, that we had a company like TPW, because at the time, backyard and underground wrestling was reeling from something that really, I don't. I think it's recovered now, but I don't think the same community is or was what it was, because unfortunately it was rocked by several companies having things that I'm not going to go into at this point. It's out there, and those companies haven't come back on since, and they will not come back on. And I think that really handicapped backyard and underground wrestling. And I think TPW coming on here allowed, I think, people to go forward, and it got people off back on our feet, and gradually backyard underground wrestling, I think it has come back to the degree it has, and we've been able to move forward, and I think that's great. And I think TPW and had played a huge role in that, and we appreciate the kind words. And I want to say hello to Camo. Cam will probably be very curious to hear what Jason Storm has to say in a little while. But I gave you the physical copy, and I know you had some thank yous, but there's somebody here before we sign off that would like to say a few words about what you said just now, and maybe some of the things you said earlier tonight about them. So if I could share my screen,
Absolutely.
I'm going to do that now, because the TPW champion, there he is. He's here for your episode, and I'm going to let him speak.
I'm fresh out, but while you speak, I'm going to refill, because it's definitely worth it.
First and foremost, let me raise a glass and say cheers to Ajay Harrison on his induction in the Sportswire Hall of Fame. But my friend, some of those things you said while I was sitting in that chat, I don't know.
Like I said, it was, I know what Tom's doing, and he's trying to do what everybody else is doing. They're trying to pit Harrison against the Enterprise. We have a great working relationship, a great business relationship. And people they don't like big corporate ruling the industry. So what better way than to tear it apart, right?
See, I agree with you, and I felt the same way. And that was until you said, look at the fine print. Because what that means to me is that's a man that had everything on the line, but wasn't ready to give it up, and was too afraid. And while you think you can still run the company, I mean, we can run it back if you want. This show is all mine now. The E stands for Enterprise in EPW.
Well, so you know what? I was going to save this for later, but what better way than to throw it out here now on Sportswire Radio? Why don't we have Team Enterprise versus Team EPW in a War Games match?
Whoa! And we just heard from the War Games representative from Torrance Banks. Whoa!
You get your 4 best. I'll take my 4 best.
You got it.
Whoa! Right. And he even brought his mic out for that. Dario Divine's been prepared, and guess what? Dario Divine is here in 2 weeks. He's back here on the 13th, and I'm sure he'll be joining you in that Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. So you're getting your TPW coverage. You're getting your weekly dose. Rocky's here on Friday, and then the following Saturday, Dario Divine returns to Sportswire Radio. He returns, and he's going to have
Dario Divine will still be holding his TPW championship when he comes back.
He's got that TPW championship out there, and he's going to be a big topic on Friday's show. And you know what? Dario makes a good point, though. But Dario didn't agree with Mr. Harrison some of the things you were saying in terms of you being the one that was responsible for the record TPW growth.
Like I said earlier, Tom, that was a team effort. I think Mr. Dario has an issue more so with the fine print. And look, it's one of those things that was out of my hands. Dario, I wish you see, this is what I've been trying to get to you, man. You've been going through a lot. And if you would just listen to me, I think you'd have a better, clear head. You would have listened and you would have seen the fine print. I'm not saying that the results would have been different. I'm just saying You know, I think that you were misunderstood while reading the contract. And this is why when it comes to business, nobody tops me.
Are you saying you're a better businessman than Dario Divine? Is that what you're saying? You're a better
No,
businessman than him?
see now, we're not going to twist words here, Tom. That is most certainly not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is,
You said business and fine details, the fine
yes,
print.
absolutely. So allow
Sounds
me
like it's
to.
what you were saying.
No,
That's what I'm
uh,
trying to figure out. I'm trying to
well,
understand what that was for.
so I'm going to explain. There are some people that personality traits, if you will, whether it's paranoia, whether it's OCD, whatever you will, they read word for word the contract.
Yeah.
And I will not take anything from Dario. I think that the situation and everything that he's been through, it was at an unfortunate time with this match, and it simply got overlooked.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
think
and Rocky is certainly hearing that as well. I'm certainly, I mean, I guess that'll be a topic once again on Friday's show, but
Well, you know what though, Rocky says that, and again, I won't take anything away from TPW. And here's where I think I would
okay.
like to think that Dario and I can agree. EPW is on a rise, and it is nipping at the heels of
Well,
TPW.
I mean, I'm gonna certainly politely defer in that because we love TPW and we love
Oh,
EPW on Sportswire. We love.
absolutely. So why don't we, and for the sake of Sportswire, why don't we have, what would you say, Dario? Maybe January. Why don't we have ourselves a little friendly competition, EPW versus TPW crossover event?
so.
I mean,
You realize I'm the title holder in both companies now.
Absolutely.
So
Yes,
if I got to pick my allegiance, I mean, I stand one way, AJ Harrison.
and that's fine because I'm going to say this. Ever since I stepped foot into TPW, my very first run, Rocky has been ducking me, and I know
he's
that
here right
eventually.
now.
I know that. But him and I had agreed on eventually having a one-on-one match, and why
Mm.
not have any other better way than a main event of a crossover? Myself beating CEO Rocky. I mean, I can't think of anything better.
I mean, I can certainly ask and speculate that Friday night. I mean, Rocky will be here around 9:30 Eastern time, and obviously we're excited to see what happens. We'll talk about the Thanksgiving Throwdown results. We'll talk about what's ahead here in TPW. Also, we're gonna unveil the newest member of the TPW Hall of Fame. This is something that TPW hasn't done in a while, so we're excited about that. I also want to remind people the following Saturday, Dario Divine returns to Sportswire Radio, and Rocky wanted to say, let's make it the opening match.
Oh, okay. You want the opening match? Fine. That just means you lose quicker. That's all.
Well, you know what? I'm sure Rocky's going to beg to differ on that,
Oh, I'm
and
I'm sure. I'm sure. But
and if you are here on Sportswire, AJ Harrison, one thing is the newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. We want to congratulate AJ. Also, he has a YouTube channel. Before we sign off here, you can certainly give him a sub, like, share, and subscribe. You can see his content. He's also the KCC heavyweight and United States champion. He's also the TPW United States champion. He will be in action in multiple companies here this week. So hit the sub button for him. And obviously a lot that we talked about tonight, and I'm sure we'll continue some of that conversation on Friday's show with Rocky at 9:30. But I want to give you guys some closing thoughts, and maybe we'll go with the TPW champion here first, because I'm sure he's going to have a few thoughts, and I'm sure, Mr. Harrison, you'll be tuning in like you did last time he was here when he joined you in the Hall of Fame. Spoiler alert, in 2 weeks. He'll be joining the Hall of Fame in 2 weeks.
In the spirit of Thanksgiving, I know it might have just passed, but they always say your eyes are bigger than your stomach. And AJ, I think you might have just bit off more than you can chew, my friend. You're ambitious, and I love that about you. I've always respected it about you, but I think you might have just bit off more than you can chew. I'm excited to see where it goes.
well, you know, it's one of those things that, regardless of who wins, regardless if it's EPW, and it will be, or whether it's TPW, what's important is the eyes that are going to be on. That
Yeah, I mean, it's something we're going to talk about here on Sports. I mean, obviously, that I think that the winner is the fans. I think the fans are the
Absolutely.
winner. The fans win. We win because we get to see the very best promo stars in action. I will be so fascinated to see who will be on Team TPW and EPW. I mean, I certainly have an idea, but I'm certainly going to speculate that. But I'm sure Rocky will have opinions on that. But that is Dario Divine's Instagram page. Please go out there and give him a follow. You can check him out, like I said, 2 weeks from today in the chair of Ajay Harrison. He'll go into the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, and he says he'll still be the TPW champion. He is in action also this week, so we'll certainly figure that. I'm sure we'll be talking a lot about Jerry Main. Jerry Main is back with you, and Jerry Main is out of retirement, and Mr. Harrison had a few things to say about that as well. So I'm sure that's going to be I see it. I see got that tag team championship, and Mr. Jerry Main will be out there somewhere lurking, and that'll be something I'm sure we'll piggyback off on Friday's show. So we'll certainly see. But Mr. Harrison, I want to pass the baton to you. I want to give you some closing thoughts. Anything else you want to plug, share, or say on your special day? And congratulations, my friend. Now the floor is yours.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And, if you guys don't mind, come over and, subscribe to YouTube, Instagram. I got TikTok as well. Simply just, if you want to, just Google search my name. I pop right up there. I wouldn't be where I'm at in the promo world if you guys didn't put the eyes on the videos and come check out the product. It really means a lot to me. Thank you to Dario for the time and the effort that you put in, to just being my friend, my brother. It really means a lot for you to be here. So, it's one of those things like almost a loss for words. So I don't want to run the risk of rambling. So I'll end by saying, whenever the details come out more for this crossover event, I'm looking forward to it, and let's just go out there and kill it.
Yeah, that's it. Listen, you know what? That's what it's all about. Just doing the best you can, having a good time, and that's what it's about. Just having fun. And AJ Harrison's having a lot of fun right now. He's on Instagram. He's on YouTube. We've been plugging that also throughout. He's also on IMDb. So check him out. TikTok as well. Definitely plug him, follow him, support him. Support TPW on Instagram. And one more time, Rocky's here at 9:30 on Friday, so you will not want to miss that. And we have some other names coming on throughout the week, so you'll surely get some details on that. And we'll be on here about 9:15 or so with Jason Storm, the puppet. Was the puppet master. I was the outlaw, but there you have it. Congratulations. We'll give you the physical copy when we're off the air, and Dario will be joining you in 2 weeks. So I look forward to giving Dario one of these as well. And thank you, fellas. Thank you to TPW and EPW, and enjoy the rest of the evening. If you're watching Survivor Series, enjoy that also. And we'll be, I'm sure, talking a lot about you guys on Friday when we have the newest member of the TPW Hall of Fame unveiled, and this conversation will be picked up because I'm sure Rocky's going to want to, say a few things toward your way, Mr. Harrison.
I'm sure he will. It's one of those things. When you get EPW versus TPW, you're looking at the promo equivalent of WWE versus AEW.
Yeah.
And I know that there's been a lot of fans out there that have wanted that actual WWE versus AEW. Come enjoy it over in the promo world with TPW, EPW.
Yeah. Well,
so
I think the closest thing we would say is NXT and Impact Wrestling. Maybe that's the closest.
Oh, yeah.
We've seen that because we see that. That's maybe the. I mean, technically we
Touché.
In the Monday Night Wars we got one. It was one match that actually happened that way technically, and it was Mike Awesome versus Taz at the time. It was the one technical. I watched it as a kid. I remember in Brooklyn, I watched that match, and at the time, Taz was the EC. He was wrestling to become the ECW champion because he was a WWF wrestler at the time, and Mike Awesome was the ECW champion. He had just signed with WCW, so you actually had one time You had a WWF wrestler versus a WCW wrestler in an ECW ring. It happened.
Oh, he cut out there again.
You did, Tom. It's still gone.
Now can you hear?
There we go.
There we go.
Going to the wayside after this. But my point is that EPW and TPW, this will be what I saw once as a kid when I saw Mike Awesome versus Taz, WWF wrestler, WCW wrestler, in an ECW ring for an ECW championship. So we'll see it. We'll talk about it Friday night. My USB is going to run out here any moment. So thank everybody for tuning in. That is the TPW and heavyweight and tag team champion Dario Divine. That is also the KCC. There is the KCC US and heavyweight champion, the TPW US champion, the former general manager of EPW, the Dawn of Combat, AJ Harrison. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice figuratively and literally with all music and wrestling matters. And if you're here on Sportswire Radio, give us up to AJ's page, follow TPW. Check out my video with Rhino and Raven, and Jason Storm will be here in about 3 hours. But until then, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. On the number one Global Radio, isn't it? Sportswire Radio with all music and wrestling.